Hi there and welcome to another strange and weird Better Mankind video. Now, to finish off the year, I thought it would be fun to share some interesting scary facts and stories that are bound to give you something disturbing to think about while you try to fall asleep tonight. This first one is regarding the 1982 horror movie Poltergeist. Did you know that 4 of the actors died not long after the film came out? Some of these deaths were violent and unexpected. Because of this, people now believe that the film had a curse hanging over it. Even the child star of the film, Heather O'Rourke, died in 1988 at the age of 12 after a bowel obstruction released deadly toxins into her blood. Die-hard fans of the movie believe that this all started with the use of real skeletons in one of the scenes of the movie. Now, I wonder if the deaths of the actors had anything to do with a real curse or just happened to be pure coincidence. Did you know that in the 19th century and long before, being literally buried alive was an ever-present worry, considering doctors would often mistake a comatose or otherwise unresponsive patient for a cadaver. Because of this, people developed safety coffins that would allow the buried person to alert those above ground that they were indeed still very alive. If you can think of a scarier way to go than being buried alive, please let me know in the comments section. Around 1904, a boy named Robert Eugene Otto, or Gene, owned a strange-looking doll of a boy who he named Robert. Robert the doll is said to be haunted, aware of what is going on around him, and even responsible for multiple violent mishaps. His parents would hear Gene talking to the doll, and much to their horror, they would hear the doll talking back. Now, at first they thought that Gene might have had aspirations of becoming a ventriloquist, but the voice was far too deep for Gene to have physically pulled this off. The family claimed that they saw the doll move around the house on several occasions, and wherever he was, they could hear a creepy laugh coming from that direction. Robert's tale formed the basis for the popular horror movie Child's Play. So, do you believe there's such a thing as a haunted doll, or was this just the child's overactive imagination? Let me know what you think. Many of us are terrified of going to see the dentist, but this next fact makes you really appreciate the advancements that have been made in modern day dentistry. In the 1800s, people needed dentures just like they do today, but they didn't have access to the modern technologies of today. Instead, dentures at the time were actually made from the teeth of deceased people, usually out of the mouths of dead soldiers. It truly is a great time to be alive, because the idea of biting into my food with some dead person's chompers does very little for my appetite. We have all seen a Bible at one point or another, but have you ever heard of the Devil's Bible, also called the Codex Gigas? This legendary Latin manuscript is said to be the product of a monk's bargain with Satan himself. In the 13th century, a monk was about to be executed for his crimes unless he could compose a single impressive work in one night. To achieve this impossible task, the monk sold his soul to the devil and produced this 165-pound, 3-foot-long book. While the origin story might just be a legend, the Devil's Bible does exist as a real text, and it appears to have been written completely by the hand of a single scribe. There are certain aspects of this book that to this day still leave archaeologists and historians baffled at how it could have been written. For starters, this monumental book weighs as much as a person, and its pages are composed from the skins of at least 160 donkeys. Incredibly, and some experts say impossibly, the nature of the writing is completely uniform throughout, and there is no noticeable signs of change in the look or quality. If you would like to find out more about the Devil's Bible, there is a fantastic video by a channel called Mr. Mythos, and I will leave a link to this video in the description below. There's an old legend that a birthmark or some sort of body defect indicates the exact spot where you might have received a fatal wound in your past life. In some cultures, people mark their dead with soot or paste so they can recognize them when they are reborn. This has inspired several researchers to spend their lives documenting hundreds of case studies that allegedly reflect this belief. So if you happen to have a birthmark, chances are you didn't die of natural causes in a past life. Here's a creepy thought. Paranormal experts say that if you ever see someone unfamiliar in your dreams, it is actually the ghost of that person watching you while you sleep. I guess voyeurism is alive and well in the spirit world. Did you know that if you ever feel that someone is watching you, there's a strong possibility that they most likely are? Our brains have a primal gaze detection system that determines whether someone is staring at you directly or looking a few degrees to the left or right of you. So if this is true, who is watching you when you're sitting there all alone, and yet you still have an ominous feeling that you're being watched? Now, coincidences happen all the time, but this next story takes coincidence to a whole new level. On May the 27th, Mary Ashford and Barbara Forrest, who were both 20 years of age at the time, attended a dance with a friend. Both women were later seen with a man by the surname of Thornton. Both women were murdered by this person in the same way and astonishingly in the same location. Furthermore, both men were acquitted of the murders. Now, if you think all of this wasn't weird enough, both of these murders were 160 years apart. It was also interesting that both Mary and Barbara wrote in detail about feeling a sense of dread in the days leading up to their murders. Well, I think that's enough scary facts for one day, and if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more of this type of content, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I do apologise for the lack of content during 2020, but I will endeavour to up the ante in 2021. I wish you and your family a happy and very safe new year, and thank you for all of your support during 2020. Until next time, thanks for watching, and more now than ever before, always be good to each other.